Welcome to the J.R. Hendrik Texan Gentleman, a podcast that deals with the early life of J.R. Hendrik. And now, narrating the episode, we need a changing of the guard. Jimmy, with some small help from J.R. I'll be doing most of the narration because, well, J.R. is on assignment. He's doing a platform speech up in Daytona Beach. But he's giving me little clips of some of the things. Because to some degree it is about JR, and the other degrees it's not. Okay? So, alright. So we go to August the 16th, if you will. Here we go. So, 1 p.m. And the condo, JR hears that Brent Clark is back in town, living with his mother and wife, with his mother and his girlfriend Jessie in a duplex. Albuquerque didn't work out. Jessie was working part-time, recording tracks at the same studio Kristen was with. Okay, so it's 2 p.m. At the law school, JR meets with Paul Baxter Jr. Don't tell me. Your girl has some work to do, Paul said. No. Some Bible study with some girl she knows. I figured we'd get more of a head start on civil procedure, legal practice, and property, Gerald said. Well, let's do it. And let's do it moving then, Paul said. So now it's 4 p.m. Eastern. With the Britley and the Crowns leaving for a business weekend in Raleigh, Jim and Betsy entertained Barbara Holland and her family. And Millard and I have rediscovered our love for one another, Barbara said. Separation was hard, but it made me realize how much I need her, her husband, Millard said. By the way, my compliments to the chef on the pasta primavera. So when you're not clerking for Ginsburg, how the hell do you bide your time? I'm researching the case of Clinton versus New York. Like Ginsburg, I'm not sure I'm behind the line item veto. Well, I don't know. You'll have to fight me on that one, Jim said. Jim, Betsy calmly protested. Well, now, your dad's been supporting that, Betsy, back in the 80s. I can't see why I can't support it now. 6 p.m. Central. Arriving at Kristen's condo, Kristen had delivered some Domino's pizza for dinner for them. They were watching the McNeil Letter News Hour. Of course, JR could not pay attention too much at all. 8 p.m. Central. JR and Kristen are making out in her condo. This was to be a last hurrah before between him and Kristen, before he was to begin his law studies. Okay. Let's go to the 17th of August. And make sure I get this right, because I see some problems. Here we go. 1 p.m. Eastern. On Air Force One, President Clinton calls Alexandria Irons. You just gave me an answer to Hendrik is returned to D.C., the president said, incredulously. He's already speaking at a Republican rally in Arlington? That damn fool, he never quits. My spies tell me that as soon as they returned to D.C., things got tense between him and Betsy for some reason. And the president said, she'll probably ask to be returned to the ranch, and then he'll find a license to cheat. I don't know. Bethany Hartz told me yesterday he plans to keep her for a little while. President Clinton said, we'll see and hazard to guess how long that lasts. And the president said he senses Hillary walking into the office. Well, I gotta go. Goodbye. Okay, 1 p.m. Central. Carmen parked the car in front of the condo as JR and Kristen argue inside. JR, come on, let's go! Kristen said angrily and anxiously. Damn, darling, calm down, JR said angrily. Now we're gonna be there on time. And we're gonna beat the crowd. Now it's 3 p.m. Central. Assembly's Deaconess Patsy Ross is the keynote speaker for the Isaiah Friedman rally at the Radisson in Arlington. Press cameras had focused on Betsy until she demanded that they be put out of her face. 3 p.m. Central. Speaking at the MSR rally is Emily Porter from Amarillo. She was regional vice president with her husband, Jim Porter. 7 p.m. Eastern. Jim is the platform speaker for the night session of the rally. Betsy had been given a data said a new tranquilizer to calm her nerves, calm anxiety. 11 p.m. Central. Arriving back from the rally, JR walks Kristen into the condo, particularly the door of her condo watches her walk in and waves goodbye. 6 a.m. Central. At Gerald's condo, Rachel, the weekend servant, was making grits for Kristen and hard-boiled eggs and sausage patties for JR, along with some biscuits. 9 a.m. Eastern. Mount Zion Baptist Church, Arlington, Virginia. Jim and Betsy sit in church together as they go through Sunday school. Pastor Jethro Ephraim was lecturing out of the book of Judges. Jim and Betsy seemed very happy together. 9:30 a.m. Central. Jared and Kristen attend First Baptist Lubbock. And Kristen is mesmerized by the preaching of the minister. John Salazan. 1 p.m. Central. Back at the condo, JR and Kristen are having a rack of barbecue ribs for lunch in his condo. And they're talking. And Kristen said, I really didn't like the music at the beginning of Sunday school class, Kristen said. It's a different generation, honey. And these are different times, Gerald said. Still, they could have played something more like Christian or gospel. I know. But you know kids these days, Gerald said. Now we're going to lunch at Chris Belfry's house after Sunday school next week. And I need you to act like a proper girlfriend. I'm going to the law library tonight. 2 p.m. Eastern. Back at 14 Heritage Gate, Jim is being interviewed on TV for the Blake Carter Show at Raynard News. There he castigates CBMC and Clinton operatives for going after his family, not knowing that President Clinton had castigated Phil later for overstepping his boundaries as a figurehead. Phil is known to overreach, Jim said. I can take it. But when you go after my wife and family, then that makes me a raging bull. The Clintons and their cronies, in and outside the White House, love to hide behind their ivory towers when they're in trouble, Blake Carter said. But let's just say, regardless of whether he's up in the polls or running to some proactively informed Americans, the game is up. 3 p.m. Central. At the ranch, Christine is talking to her boyfriend, Dave. I can't believe I went to the prep school dance with you on Friday night. And the music the faculty picked was dorky. I mean, this is the 90s. Get with the times, Christine complained. And David said, now, Christine, come on. I know your father taught you culture, David said. Mama's culture lessons were always stuffy. Daddy, on the other hand, he was a different story. Proof positive that you are so much like your father. My phone's ringing. Got to go home. I'll see you in class tomorrow. Okay, 6 p.m. Central. Kristen is back in her condo working 60 minutes. And Jared's at the law library studying with Kevin McDonald and Paul Baxter Jr. 9 p.m. Central. Jared returns home, arriving at Kristen's condo to hold her for a little while before returning back to his. Okay. Let's get ready for the meat and potatoes of this. So it's 9 a.m. Eastern. In the front lawn of 14 Heritage Gate, Betsy is drinking a cup of coffee when in walks Marge Clark. Marjorie, what a pleasant surprise, Betsy said. I'm not sure if this is much of a social call, Margie said. Margie, what's going on? William was wrong about so much about your family. Even though he's in the Congress struggle, he can be so stupid sometimes. And Betsy says, what are you saying? Tommy was right about you. You're into the family. But Jim is too shrewd, too strong and too fast. I think JR and Brent can keep our friendship within the families going. Now, Margie, please explain to me a little bit more clearly about what's happening. I got Brent his job in Albuquerque thanks to JR. But it didn't work out. I'm asking you to keep JR in Hendrik Foods so that he can help Brent. He used his power at Hendrik Foods to build up my son Brent. Brent lives in a duplex with money I financed for him. He's close to being engaged and happy. My brother and you got to go back a long way. So if there's anything I can do for you. No, Betsy. I don't need your help. What I'm trying to say is that I know that your husband is resigning soon. I'm asking you to use your son's power to help me put Brent back on the right foot. I got the money, honey. You got the power. Okay, so it's 9:30 a.m. Central. JR is in the study room at the law library when his cell phone rings, and of course it's his mother. You'll never guess who came to see me. It was Margie. The one you was backbiting about all those years? I was wrong. Because isn't it true that you helped Brent get a job in Albuquerque? He made the smart move, not me. But you really care. I told you, Mama. He set me up with Kristen. Now I didn't push him to take that job in Albuquerque. And I really am sorry. It didn't work out for him. That man will get more help from me for his own good. You're a warm and sensitive man, JR. And I want to keep you in charge of Hendrik Foods, especially now with Christine going back to school. No need. I got a full load, Mama, as it is, Gerald said. I got Kristen, and I got law school right now. That's all I ever need. 1 p.m. Eastern, in Washington, D.C., Jim testifies before the Senate Small Business and Entrepreneurship Committee. Based on his recommendations, the committee unanimously voted to have the bill for small business jobs protection package be brought directly to the Senate floor. 1 p.m. Central. JR meets Kristen at the student union for a study break, and they both grab Pepsis from a nearby lounge. Darling, I'm sorry for the things I said. They hurt you. I know they did. I'm just trying to get my glory days back that I had with Brent and Stony Rosen before Charlie Nation got to me, Gerald said plaintively. Cuddles, you already got them. Let me help you get the rest back, Kristen said, opening his can of Pepsi. You relaxed me. But you didn't love him. And I could take it some ways. That you didn't like the Holy Spirit Club. Maybe in a couple of weeks. But not now. I'm trying to leave the campus life behind me. That's why I spent so much of my morning laying down some big tracks. You better not have a slave driver for a producer. Hey, we're spending time together. That's good enough for me. 7 p.m. Eastern. Jim and Scotty Underwood are having a Monday night dinner with the Dream Team. Tonight, Betsy did fly back to Texas to have breakfast with JR and lunch with kind of a lunchtime tea with Thomas and Rachel to discuss her strategy to keep JR at Hendrik Foods. Halfway through dinner, Jim's cell phone rang. "Hi, Cordell," Jim said. "That bill you wanted? It passed the Senate. I did what you wanted. Just don't give me the credit," Senator Wheeler said. "Don't forget from where you came," Jim exploded. So the next morning, it's 5:45 a.m. Kristen decided to have breakfast at the student union with a friend, Betsy Chavez, and JR was surprised to have a boiled egg breakfast. A few donuts from Betsy, his mother. "I don't want to stay in the food industry right now," JR said. "I realize it's a lot of responsibility, son, but you can help Brent that way." Mama, listen. Don't listen to Marjorie Clark. There's other ways of using power to get her son a local newspaper assignment. Now I know she wants him to stay in, she wants me to stay in their business, but Mama, I got law school. I can't fool around that anymore. Too much like your granddad. So optimistic, yet so practical. 10 a.m. Eastern. Jim is sent to the White House Roosevelt Room, where President Clinton signs the Small Business Jobs Protection Act of 1996. Walking out of the White House, Jim picks up the phone and calls Betsy. "Mission accomplished, Betsy." And Betsy says, "Thought you had one more piece of legislation." "It's in the Senate, but something tells me it won't pass by the time I quit." 10 a.m. Central legal practice class. This Austin Hall Lecture 104. The discussion was about primary legal sources until Friedrich McKay changed the subject. "Mr. Hendrik, can you please tell us what a secondary law source is? For example, a treatise from Attorney General Morales on housing law?" Gerald said. "You have improved from your senior year," McKay said. "But you need to learn. I have much high standards in this class." 1 p.m. Central. Betsy pulls up in her 1990 red Chevy Suburban, and she sees Rachel out reading a novel. "Welcome back, Miss Betsy," Rachel said. And she says, "How are you doing, Fred? Do you want something to drink?" And Fred says, "Not this time, ma'am. I got to get the goats ready for an auction in Colorado City tomorrow." "This novel I was reading was boring anyway. So how about I make you some iced tea?" Rachel said, pouring Betsy a glass of iced sweet tea. "Do you want some lemon?" And Betsy says, no, thank you. We've been keeping up about Brent Clark. I've been looking for Thomas. He's in the house, near the stairs, looking at the ledger. I'll go get him, Rachel said, opening the door. Tom and Betsy is here to see you. Tom exits the house. Well, hello, Aunt Betsy. And Betsy says, Tom, I need you in the living room tonight for a family meeting. Sure. What's up? You know about Brent? Yeah. Is he back in Lubbock? Yeah, he is. I exchanged pleasantries with Marjorie yesterday morning. It seems that JR used Hendrik Foods resources help Brent up for that job in Albuquerque. Thomas says, well, I'm sorry it fell apart. JR would do this? Rachel said, taking a sip of iced tea. I want to keep JR in charge as president of Hendrik Foods. Count on you, Thomas. I'm afraid not, Aunt Betsy. But you must have approved of what JR does. I approve of anything that JR does. The fact is, he gave me a lion's share in the company. Why? Jim's had the terms of Jim's letter. He was upset that I gave them up. He didn't want Kyle to have too much of a lion's share. So he had me sign the paper where he gave me 10% of the company. And Betsy, he wants out. I'm sorry. And Betsy says, I'm sorry too. Well, it's up to Kristen and Elizabeth Marie and me. We still have enough votes to keep him in. Thanks for the tea, Rachel. And Thomas, I really do understand. She goes inside the house to the den and takes out her father's King James Bible to start reading prayer. 2 p.m. Central. At the condo, at the duplex, Jesse is talking to Brent. I'm really sorry it didn't work out in Albuquerque. But I promise you this. I'm staying with you no matter what. And you'll bounce back just fine. Stupid thing. I don't know why I did that. Just bounced back alright, and it's not the way I wanted it to. Okay, come on. Let's take a prayer. Okay, there we go. And Brent said, I passed one part and failed one part. No! You succeeded. You got JR and Kristen together. Your mother's coming back. from Washington, D.C. today. If you see JR, give him my regards. Okay, so it's 4 p.m. and Jim is strategizing with his dream team about his final attack. And Dave Rosenberg says, "Hide the papers right here. If you want to sign them, we can sue the pants off of CBMC," Dave Rosenberg said. Now hold on. I saw Miss Betsy yesterday, and she don't want no public spectacle lawsuit. She'll want us to let it go, Cowboy Joey McDonald said. Then what is our fighting strategy? Rosenberg said nervously. Sit down, Dave. Be quiet, Jim said. I got an afternoon interview on Friday on the Andrew House show. This evening, I got to be on position points with Greg Sanders, maybe. And Friday, Wednesday the 28th, I have an interview with Greg Sanders. On Friday, I have an interview with Blake Carter. On Friday the 30th. Now, let's talk about my speech tonight at Johns Hopkins School of Business. Okay, so it's 5 p.m. Eastern. With most of the Dream Team gone for dinner, JR's having dinner with Jack Robertson, Scully Underwood, and surprise, Uncle Isaac. You just keep on hammering Bill Clinton, Jack Robertson said. We're still building a case regarding that water. And Uncle Isaac said, you had more guts than your father. Back in 59, your father was being criticized because he wanted to run for the Montana State Senate. Considering that he was divorced. Your father caved. And let's just say that your grandpa had a hard time forgiving him. Isaac, I don't want to talk about my daddy. He was a coward that played blues. 8:30 p.m. at Springfield, the mood is somber when JR calls. Somber group? Oh, Christine, I want to talk to you about a business matter. You better be sitting down, JR, Betsy says. Is Thomas there? I want to swing in here. I gave his proxy to vote his shares. No, Mama. I want him there, Gerald said. I don't want a proxy fight. It doesn't matter, Betsy says. This is about Hendrik Foods? Elizabeth Marie spoke up. I'm voting for your own good, JR. Thank you, cousin. Thank you. And Betsy says, JR, you're here to vote on whether you stay as president of Hendrik Foods. Both Christine and Elizabeth Marie Normal reasons for keeping you in. Do you want to say anything? No. Betsy says, all right then. We start a vote. I vote my 30 shares to re-elect you, Betsy says. Mama, I vote my 30 shares and Thomas is 10 to unseat me. Elizabeth Marie, out. Well, we have 50-40. Kristen, vote with me. Vote your conscience, Jared said. No can do, Mom. I'm voting my 20 shares. He's out. He asked me with my fields to control Hendrik Foods. Take the phone and let's talk about this upstairs, Jared said. She goes upstairs with the phone. I know why you tossed Jennifer Bauer's wedding invitation in the fireplace. In the fire. What do you know? She produces a envelope of the wedding invitation. 3 weeks ago, Chris Bowers, her dad, emailed me a copy of the invitation. You got it, Wish. Now talk to him. Okay, so it's 10 p.m. Eastern. Jim and his dream team arrived back from his speech at Johns Hopkins. Okay. "21st passed quietly." Gerald's notes. On the 21st, when Jim learned that Mickey Cantor was selected to direct the Entrepreneurial Affairs Agency Administrative Day, he sent Carol Stringer to represent him and boycotted it. He made a speech in Golden, Colorado High School on behalf of Colorado Congressman Christopher Ormsby. That Wednesday afternoon, JR went to legal practice, to Lanier 105 for his legal practice lab, where 60 students were divided into 6 groups of 10. That same night, Elizabeth Ford was there with her teaching assistant, Charles Craig. Also at a restaurant, Christine met with Al Coleman, father of CB, and Cora Coleman. He was the outgoing president of Coleman Steel. And also the night of the 21st, JR went to a 2-hour J. Reuben Clark devotional. 1 p.m. Eastern. Jim meets with his secretary, Kelly, along with John Sestina and Tim Reiner in the Dream Team Lounge. exacerbated by Claude offering him a deal and then ignoring him, along with the struggle regarding Hendrik Foods and the pumped-up administrative meeting. Jim was ready for his last attack. You need some time for you to take off, Kelly said. There's a condo in Fairfax that is partially owned by the Reverend Isaiah Friedman. He said to offer thanks for your campaign for him. He's willing to let you spend a few days in the condo. That's not going to be a good enough. We need to come up with a crude attack strategy. Okay, Johnson Stevens says, that's not going to be good enough. We need to come up with a crude attack strategy, Johnson Stevens said. Blake Carter is going to be in Daytona Beach on Saturday. I think it would be amiable for us to start with that attack tactic. And Tim Ryan said, I think you and Gordon Deckard need to appear on the Greg Sanders Position Point show with the double attack on the 28th on the Clinton administration and their dirty, cheap corruption, Tim Ryan said. Session that with a press conference next Friday in Lubbock. You're going to go see your boy in the thick of this campaign season? Kim protested. But on the other hand, it might help. But on the other hand, it might help, Kelly said. If average people can see you as a family man, Jim, that could be a big plan of attack to help Republicans retain Congress. Okay, so it's 2 p.m. Central. JR and Cora Coleman are having a study break at the snack bar at Sneed Hall. So what do you say? Can we strike a deal? Cora said, I gotta say, it's a lovely offer from a lovely lady. And she said, I saw through too. And you're out of Hendrik Foods? I'm not ready to run a steel company. All right, honey. I'll step in as advisor and consultant. You remain as the CEO of the company. I just want 10%. 10%? Sounds like I can't afford you. Oh, believe me. It won't last long, Gerald said. I'm always happy to help you with the property law of the rule against perpetuities with landlord-tenant relations. Okay, then. To Coleman Steel. Someday may be stronger than any Hendrik empire. With your help, Cora said. raising her bottle of Dr. Pepper. Influence with light duty. That's just what I want. And to J.R. Hendrik. Influence is more important than power. You got that right, Jared said. 2:30 p.m. Central. At a rig site in Kermit, Kyle is talking to Claude. Daddy, you know, he's going to give me some control of Hendrik oil, Kyle said. As JR is stupid, he decides to go to law school. And the power should have fallen to him, Claude said. Don't like your partnership with Daddy ain't in jeopardy. Mama says, in some ways, he's kind of furious at you right now. He's been pissed at me off and on ever since I married Janet last year. Nothing wrong with marrying a mature young woman. Let's just get back to talking about drill bits, Kyle said. 3 p.m. Central. Meanwhile, back at the ranch, Christine and David decided to skip 7th period so that they could talk. You know, they go back to the ranch to talk. Christine said, I got these cute diamond stud earrings with some of Daddy's money, Christine said. And David was like, oh, why? He don't ever pay me attention. To me? I think the main person he keeps raving about is Kyle and JR. Of course, I think my oldest brother is the idiot. And of course, David hugs and kisses her. Chris, I don't want to talk about that. Okay, so it's 6 p.m. Central. Kristen decided she wanted to have dinner with Betsy, her friend. So JR invites Kevin for a study dinner on civil procedure. You know, I have to say, Seth saw you at the snack bar talking to Clark Coleman. What's going on? Kevin asked. Kind of a business deal, Jared said. Man, some of your friends of your father as a blind as to this woman. She'll put her lashes on you and spin you out of control. You already could face enough problems with Kristen. Now, a good idea to make any little deals with another woman. Just business. Damn it, Kevin. You should know me by now. I'm not like my father. No. But the same lust for power is there. Look at the competition you guys had earlier last year. It's going to happen again if you're not careful. Okay, so it's the 23rd, 7 a.m. Eastern, at 14 Heritage Gate, with Jack Robertson and Scotty Underwood gone. Jim is having breakfast with Catherine Baird. I swear my husband's things are as cold as ice. He hasn't talked to me for the past week, Catherine said. Can't be a part of that damn crap. I told you I'm back with Betsy, Jim said. Yeah, but 6 months ago, you would have given anything to hear me say that. That's before I had to use a tennis racket to get you to shut up. 11 a.m. Central. Carol leaves the Linear Library, Linear Hall, in order to get Kristen to the campus post office. And there we go. Hope you enjoy listening to the J.R. Hendrik Texan Gentleman. If you like hope you enjoy listening to the J.R. Hendrik Texan Gentleman. If you like what you hear, please subscribe and become a part of the adventure. This is the James Hendrik Empowerment saying, until next time, get ready for the rest of the story. It's going to be bumpy, but interesting from here.